We continue with the Blue Jackets' 20th anniversary season, and this is Common Threads presented by Kroger. My pleasure to welcome three goaltenders from the goaltending fraternity. Of course, the first Blue Jacket, and we'll get into this a little bit more here as we go along, but Marc Denis, who of course is now in Montreal and doing an outstanding job as a broadcaster on the French television network. And of course, the Blue Jackets' superb goaltending tandem of Joonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins. Gentlemen, welcome. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. And Mark, I was doing a little bit of research here prior to the start here of Common Threads and talking to Doug MacLean, the original general manager of the hockey team. And he made it very clear that he was after you as a young 22-year-old in Colorado. And he actually made you the very first Blue Jacket to join the organization way back in 2000. Do you remember that? And tell us about it.
I do. Very flattering, and I hope Doug is doing well. Elvis, Corpy, nice to meet you guys. Rims, thanks for having me on. Well, so much history, so many memories with the Blue Jacket. But yeah, I remember this pretty vividly when I got the call, first time being traded, right? Never happened to me in junior hockey. So getting the call from Pierre Lacroix, the one-time GM in Colorado, telling me I just got traded to Columbus. And there was a side deal with the picks eventually to come in the expansion draft to make sure that Colorado would have a full protected list. But Doug made it clear, from the get-go that, he was looking to bring me up as an eventual number one goalie in the Blue Jackets organization, and the rest was up to me. So important to say, maybe one of the first, but I wasn't the first number one goalie. Tugger did a tremendous job as the number one goalie that first season with the Blue Jackets, and really helped bring me along as well. So great memories of those of that very first year in a very tight-knit group.
All right, from Tugnut and Denis to Elvis and Corpy, your thoughts?
Well, obviously it's come a long way, and I can't wait to hear these guys. These guys have been tremendous. The way they've been able to work and to feed off each other, the way they played just a few months ago in the bubble, and impressed the heck out of me to have a NHL All-Star Game selected goaltender and an NHL All-Rookie goalie on the same team. Pretty amazing. So I think Tugger and I worked pretty good. But we'll take the back seat to these guys. You guys were tremendous, especially last season, and I hope you guys are able to turn it around here quickly this one.
And certainly the Blue Jackets goaltending tandem this year doing an outstanding job. Corpy, why don't you kick things off here? And it's a friendly competition. You guys are great friends off the ice, and certainly encourage one another when you're not playing on a particular night.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everything that happens, it's daily basis, how we get into the ring, we work hard, but at the same time we have fun. And with Elvis and Manny, we do work with all the goalie stuff every day and having fun and working hard. We're just pushing each other every day, and that's where the results come.
Elvis, what about the experience for you?
I never had so great relationship with my partner goalie. I met Corpy in 2014. We lived together.
Yeah, we were roommates on the development camp. Yeah.
So and everything started from there. I think I went back in Switzerland. He stayed here in AHL, and then he got the calls up to NHL. So I was really happy for him. I was all the time following him, how he's playing. We didn't had any that maybe like in 80s or 90s, like back in Latvia, they had to hate the goalies. We never had that. I mean, I love Corpy. We are in great relationship. Obviously, he has his technique. I have my techniques. Maybe even on the ice, maybe what I like, I show him, and maybe if he likes, he can use those moments or not. And the same thing he's doing with me. So it's great to have such a good partner.
Do you guys have any questions for Mark, the original goaltender with the Blue Jackets back in 2000? You guys were too young to remember those days. You must have a question for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different style back then.
Yeah.
I always want to know how to do the skate save. Old
The
school.
skate save. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
school.
listen, just
How you do
just
it
because I got a
proper.
little bit of gray hair here doesn't mean I was just making skate saves and playing stand up. So
No,
that
was the style back then. It's 2000, right? No.
It was 2000, and you know what? I got to play with Patrick Raw before coming over to Columbus. So the butterfly style was well ingrained, but let me tell you, working closely with Rick Wamsley, and you alluded to you guys being two different goalies, and Tugger and I were two very different goalies. Tugger was a smaller set type of goalie, a lot of experience. I was just a young pup, happy to be in the NHL, wanting to compete to be a number one guy, but working on a different frame. I'm not as big as you guys are nowadays, but so Warmer really worked differently with us. The skate save wasn't really in effect, but without having this VH and reverse VH and all the techniques and positioning that you guys now deal with the post recovery, I mean, Warmer would basically do a lot of power skating with me. So our skating ability, I think, and our reading the game was quite different. Now, I wouldn't even put myself in the same sentence as the way you guys played technically today. You guys almost need to be perfect, and you guys don't allow any bad goals anymore. It's amazing. And when you do, it's magnified. We used to allow 1 or 2 bad goals a game. It was how we rebounded from that and how we meshed with our defensive core. But let me throw back this question to you, Korpi. I was reading some comments saying you really fed off in this good sequence you guys had, really fed off your defense group. How important is nowadays? Because I have this feeling like goalies almost get lost in the technical goalie stuff. You work with Manny all the time, but this communication and this work with your group of defensemen must still be important, right?
100%. And I mean, like you said, all about the reading about the game. Obviously, depends how the guys play in front of me. How do I read some different players, especially 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. If it's I'm reading this and they're doing exactly how we talked about, and it makes everything easier for me as a goalie as well. All these little things they do makes our job easier to read the game, so that we can commit to something they're doing right there.
Elvis, a question or a comment here for Mark?
How fast are the game? Like, what, do you see the difference like between the quickness of the game now or before, and like why? If now the game is faster, why? I mean, anyways, and back then the players were the best players in the world. Maybe the sticks changed, that now we have better sticks, and so power, maybe you have more power in the shots. But why now it's faster than before?
Well, athletes are better, and the game is there as well. There's a lot less hooking, interference, and all of that. And systems have gotten a hold of this game where you're taking time and space away. The one thing that it feels is you guys need to react so much faster. The passes and the puck is off the stick in the blink of an eye, where, back when I played, the better players would have the puck on their stick a little bit longer to make their play. That's why those players were still the best in the world, but they had a different skill set. As far as the equipment is concerned, what I've seen, and I was fortunate enough to play all the way up till 2009. So I saw the evolution. It felt to me anyways. I mean, Brett Hull and Al McInnes, they could shoot the puck with anything. They could shoot a puck, 120 miles an hour with a branch. But the fact of the matter was, nobody was shooting muffins anymore by the time I retired, because everybody had the technology within their hands. They all had those one-piece composite sticks. They all had the lighter skates. And it felt like my good buddy Jody Shelley was almost an all-star by the end of my career, because he could shoot the puck as hard as just about anybody else. Say hi to Jody Rims, okay, for me when you have a chance. But that's what I felt. But the game, as far as I'm concerned, and I get to see it on a daily basis, being a color commentator now for the Montreal Canadiens games here, is those athletes. You guys are so I've evolved so much, and there's very little room for error or mistake. So you're taking time and space away, and you have less and less. That goes for forwards, but that goes for you guys as well. You need to be the pass. I had a lot of time, I felt, to beat the pass back when I played, but I needed to read the play, because systems weren't there. Nowadays, you guys need to be really fast on your skates. So have you, and from coming over, both of you guys, you played in La Liga, you played in the NLA there in Switzerland. Did you guys feel a difference in the pace from coming from Europe and then eventually through the AHL and the NHL eventually?
I felt it completely right away. I mean, the game was so much quicker. Shots were smarter. Like in Europe, the player would never shoot from the angle, trying to shoot you maybe in the leg to get in or in the neck or somewhere there. It's a lot faster game. And here on 2-on-1 example, in Europe, maybe there's 3 maximum to 4 passes you can make. Here, it's 1 pass shot. You have no time. But on the same time, what I was thinking, this is show. This is where you go. I mean, on 2-on-1, 1 pass, and then you slide all over and you go on the split. And when you save, you are the hero. When you get it in, well, you got it in. I mean, it's different. In Europe, you have much more space and much more room for shoot and for score, I think.
Korpi?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just because of the bigger ice in Europe, it makes a huge difference to the pace of the game. And especially playing back in Finland, it's all about systems in Finland. So a lot of the games, there's only 15 shots per team. And it's always going to be a little bit higher danger shot every time because there's so much time and space. And it's a huge difference, especially coming to having traffic on the net and tracking the puck. I think that was the first thing I realized that, okay, I'm not good at tracking puck because here you got so many people in front of the net, so you have to see the puck all the time.
I want to get into a topic here that certainly interests me, and I know it interests the fans. I talked to both Elvis and Korpi before we started here, and I know you probably have a strong comment on in this regard, Mark. The Department of Goaltending Excellence. You see what the Florida Panthers did by not only having Roberto Luongo and Rob Tallis, but they add Francois Allaire, Luongo's younger brother, as part of that goaltending Department of Excellence. And now Montreal, they've increased their goaltending coaches there. I'd like to know how you feel, Mark, and the two Blue Jackets presently about maybe expanding the goaltending coaching departments around the National Hockey League. Mark,
great.
Lead off.
Yeah, great. More former goalies around the NHL. It's the higher the hockey IQ, right? We see the game at a different level. So, no, I'm all for it. All I want to make sure is I hope we don't overthink it to some extent. As much as I marvel at Korpi and Elvis and all the goalies nowadays at how technically sound they are, you still need to be able to play. You need to play. You need to read. You need to manage the game as well. You need to be a good teammate. Being a number one goalie goes so far beyond being able to be in the right position and choose the right save technique. So I hope we're not overthinking the game. But as far as attaching that much importance to an area, to a specific position, I'm all for it. Montreal now has Sean Berg. They have Marco Marciano. I know Edmonton is an organization which have had goalie coaches and goalie scouts to write lists about the draft and about goalies outside of the NHL. So I think it's of the utmost importance. When you look at how Elvis came to North America as one of the most touted goalies outside of the NHL, NHL teams can't just draft. They need to find goalies everywhere. And I think excellence and development will go a long way. A goalie that comes from the CHL or from the NCAA ranks still needs time and games and development to get to be a number one NHL goalie. So, hey, I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, don't overthink it. When you have all the tools you need, play the game and win the game.
I like it. Elvis, Korpi, how would you guys like another Manny Legacy or two on the staff?
It's enough with one.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never had this experience, so I really don't know what to say. Like, it would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, like Mark said, you know, it's a lot of experience back there, and obviously it helps. And having many goals in the system, you know, like, you know, yeah, I'm not saying the more the better. I'm saying, like Mark said, you still need to play the game, and you can't get too technical and stuff like this. But having a lot of goals in the systems 100% helps the younger guys, and having these experienced ex-goalies talk to them and guide them. I think it's going to be huge.
I mean, for me, I think maybe the most important thing is that both sides are on the same page. Like, example, when I was coming here in 2015, I had Ian Clark as the goalie coach here, and then I had Leo Longo back home in Lugano. You know, they were kind of on the same page, but I was so young that I didn't understand what one goalie coach is saying, what is his meaning with another meaning. So I was completely confused when I was going back home, because here I was learning a new technique, new stuff. But then I was going back home, I was kind of learning the same technique, but on different way. So I was confused and I didn't know who is right, who is wrong. So I think it's really important that both sides are on the same page.
Yeah. Well,
for not making confusion.
True.
I think, to have the same language. Yeah, go ahead, Corby.
Yeah, I just want to add, you know, having a lot of different opinions, I think it helps a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean, then you just add these things to your toolkit if you feel good. You know, having a broad range of different opinions and little things that maybe make you better as a goalie.
And you know what, Rems, when I go back to my playing days, I felt like sometimes, whether it was Tugger, whether it was Freddie Brathwaite or JF LeBay, or even Pascal Leclerc when he came in as a younger goalie and trying to take my job, is, you know, we're so close to our game, and even Warmer trying to help us out, Rick Wamsley, we're so close to our game that to have an outside evaluation, an outside opinion, an outside eye to see how you're doing is not always a bad thing. But to go back to what Elvis was saying here, you need a common language, right? You need a common teaching. So different opinions, but one teaching, I think, can definitely help. So this is how I foresee goaltending excellence. And I'm sure there'll be some hits and misses throughout the NHL, as this is kind of a new philosophy behind developing and helping goalies. And the last thing I'll say about this, Rims, is you remember, right? Back when I played, we'd have, you know, 3 at the most 4 goalies within our organization, sometimes free agents, even playing for your AHL teams. Now teams have 4, 5, 6 goalies in North America, some in juniors, some in Europe. So there's a lot of goalies, and, you know, and you need to bring them along as well. So yeah, I'm seeing this from a good eye. Don't get me wrong here.
Larry Brooks wrote a column this past weekend on goaltending. I don't know if you saw it, Mark, and I doubt if Corpy and Elvis saw it, but they certainly can.
Tell us more, Rems. Tell us more.
I'm going to tell you more. Back in the early 2000s, the National Hockey League was dominated by French-Canadian goaltenders like yourself. In fact, in the 2003 season, 3 of the 4 teams that were in the conference finals and Stanley Cup final had French-Canadian goaltenders. That's not the case anymore, Mark, as you well know. Currently, there are 9 Finns, 8 Russians, 5 Swedes, 4 Czechs, 2 Germans, 1 Latvian goaltender. I wonder who that might be. And I mean, it's a situation where goaltending has become the world class of the National Hockey League.
Listen, I'm fine with that. It's a world game. I think we've broadened our horizons. And I'll be honest with you, I think French-Canadian goaltending even needs to take a little bit of credit, because Elvis was just telling us about Leo Luongo, right? Being over and teaching. François Allaire was one of the first goalie coaches to go over to Europe, in Switzerland and Sweden, to have hockey schools. I'm not saying they don't deserve the credit, because you know what? You know, these nations develop better goalies than we have as of late. Fine, that's how it is. And I'm all for it, because you want the best athletes at the best position at all time. we were brought up watching Marty Brodeur and Patrick Roy and Felix Potvin, a bunch of goalies my age, and Roberto Luongo and Jiggy and Marty Biron and myself, and I could go on and on, all the same age, just about at the same time at the NHL level. But hey, it's a world game now. I think the same goes for players in all positions. As you mentioned, the Germans are coming along now with a lot of first-round draft picks at all positions as of late. All these countries you just mentioned all have very competitive leagues, competitive players. I mean, Elvis even had the same coach as I had, right? You had Bob Hartley as a head coach at one point. So did I. So, it's an international knowledge game now without boundaries. I think it's great for our game.
You guys have a comment on the influx of European goaltenders around the world now, and in particular the NHL? Korpi, Elvis?
Yeah, I mean, you see every year there's a lot of European guys coming into the league, and like Mark said, it's all about the goaltending, how they've been coached, and a lot of good goaltending coaches back in Europe, a lot of them, especially seeing a lot of Russian kids coming into the league, and you see how technically sound they are already in a young age. It's crazy. Me being 20 years old, I wasn't too ready for NHL, but these kids they're ready right away. A lot of good leagues in Europe, like you said, guys coming from KHL, a lot of different leagues, they're ready already.
Where are the best goaltenders coming from? Russia, Finland, where?
Finland, obviously.
Latvia.
Right, Elvis?
Latvia.
Mark, you have a question for these guys before we kind of wrap things up here, and really have enjoyed this immensely.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me throw one here at Elvis. I know you have an outgoing personality, and in case you can't tell, I like to talk as well. Have you ever gotten into trouble yet with getting the yapper going too much, whether in the media or post game? Or because I know, without saying I have any regrets, sometimes there's some words that come out after a game that I would like back.
There was one word that I said, I think like 2 weeks ago in interview. And then I like in the start, I didn't realize that I said, and then I was thinking if it's a bad word or not. I said that I up. So for me, that was like, on that moment, it wasn't bad word, but then I was sitting home and I was thinking, well, maybe there is kids watching me. I can't say that. Right. Is it the bad word or it's not bad word? So
you said it again.
So yeah, that's his way of saying.
I'm sorry. Right? I'm sorry. It just came out. But well, in the past in Lugano, yeah, I mess up a lot, and yeah, I got in trouble. But like you said, that's my personality. I don't want to change. This is what when I was a kid, my mom always teaching me: be yourself. If people gonna love you, it's good. If they're not gonna love you, well, that's their problem. It's not your problem. So be just yourself. Say always what you think. Don't hide anything. Be open. So yeah, sometimes I'm getting in trouble, but lately I didn't got in trouble. I just realized by my mistakes that I maybe use bad or different words that I shouldn't use.
Korpi?
Yeah.
Never a bad word from you.
I don't think so.
You don't get in trouble. You're pretty quiet.
Than this guy over here. So
all right. Hey, Korpi, you know what? Korpi, you know what? The last thing I'll say, just because you asked me about the skate save, next time you work with Manny, tell him that I said he was making more skate saves than I was. So maybe he can maybe he can teach you at next practice. Okay.
Oh, 100%.
We are always making fun of him that he was playing in 80s, 90s. Oh, sorry, 90s, 90s.
That's awesome.
Mark, Korpi, Elvis, really have enjoyed this session here of Common Threads presented by Kroger. For you, Mark, best of luck down the stretch with the Montreal Canadiens. And of course, for the Blue Jackets, very much in a playoff hunt here. And we've got a great goaltending tandem in both Korpisalo and, of course, Merzlikins. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And on behalf of our guest today, we say thank you for joining us here on Common Threads, presented by Kroger.